Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kevin. I'll be facilitating the webinar this afternoon. And we'll just wait a couple minutes here as still people jumping on. So we'll just give them a chance to settle in here. Hopefully you got your system working well. Let me know if you have any questions there. And we'll be started here in a minute. I was expecting a lot more people, so someone's in a city where there's an ambulance right next to their room. Wow, that's loud. Yeah, we're going to ask you to make sure you put hit your mute button while we're in the session today, unless of course we're doing a conversation and you want to ask a question. Then just raise your little hand button and hit that little raise your hand button, and that'll signal that you would like to speak. Well, we'll also use we'll be using the public chat as well. That's an important tool we'll use today for some of the activities we're going to do. And we got a lot of people, so that's great. This is, filling up nicely. We're up at 22 already. Good to see some smiling faces as well. So you've been through module 1 with, I believe that would have been Lisa, or was it Ashley this time? Now I can't even remember who's up on those.
It was Lisa.
It was Lisa this time. All right, thanks. And we're going to continue on from where Lisa left off in terms of exploring that really key question: who am I? And they especially through the personality assessments. So we'll again just give it another minute. People are still coming in, so we're up at 24 now. Okay. You should be able to see the Career Discovery screen that I've shared with you. And again, if there are any of you on the mobile, let me know, because that can sometimes be an issue. And if there's anybody that's not seeing well, maybe there's a video problem, or if there's a problem with the audio, please let me know and we'll see if we can fix that. And one of the easiest ways, if you're having audio trouble, is to leave the webinar, jump back in with the same link. That can often correct the audio issue. So on the mobile, we got a couple people indicating they're on mobile, and just to let you know that little, when you're on that little screen, it could be a challenge. Okay, I see Miss Jackson saying I cannot hear anything. Okay, try to reconnect. I'll say first. That's that. Try to leave the webinar and reconnect is if you're having those audio issues. Okay, we got a full afternoon, like our 2-hour window here, so we're going to get started and take you through our little introduction here. I'm still letting clients into the webinar. We're at 27 participants. That's great. Okay, so Career Discovery. One more. And just checking to see, do I have any staff members with us today? I don't think so. All right, that's fine. Yeah, so keep that chat window open. We'll get to use that today for sure. a number of times, some activities we're going to do. And another thing that if you want to have handy, just a pen and any scrap of paper, just a little scrap of paper is good for one activity we're going to do. So once again, have a pen and a little scrap of paper ready to go. Okay, just a reminder of our confidentiality notice. This is a safe place. Please don't share other clients' details outside this platform, and remember to be accepting of others' opinions and maintain respect for all staff and participants. And before we get into the outline today, let's just take a moment to acknowledge the traditional and unceded territories of the First Nations on whose lands our Work BC catchments operate. I'd like to acknowledge in particular the Stalo Nation, particularly I'm in Abbotsford today, so the Matsqui Sumas First Nations, and you can acknowledge those where you are located there. So career discovery, module number 2. We have a lot of fun in this one. So let's we're going to get right into type focus. If you have completed your assessments, that's great. If you have not, that's okay too. You can always do them afterwards, and that can work either way. And we'll get into what those results mean today, and especially look at, are they valid for you? Do these results really describe you? And we'll show you how to do that through some activities we're going to do together. Then we'll jump into a brief introduction on what we call the Holland Code. So that's another one of the assessments you did on professional interests. You did that in the Type Focus platform also. Because module 1 covered values, we won't go into talking about values today. So just to let you know, though, Type Focus had that third assessment, and if you have done those assessments, you would have seen that. We'll also talk about how the Type Focus platform and results lead directly and wonderfully right into labor market research, career decision-making research, and show you some tools for doing that. So let's get started with exploring the connection between personality and career decisions. So a couple of key objectives today. We want to better understand your assessment results on a personal level, and then apply those findings to your everyday life, your work and relationships, whether personal relationships or work relationships. Those insights that you gain through the personality type assessment results are really helpful. And number 2 objective, to explore how to research your local labor market for specific career options. And again, I'll show you how that Type Focus platform links you directly into the Work BC database of over 500 career profiles. And we'll show you how to get into those and how to explore those. All right, so I'm trying to keep warm here today. I'm in my little office, and I got my scarf on because the heat in my office isn't working. So hopefully for you, everything's good. I got my hot coffee here. I can keep my hands warm around my cup. That's pretty good. We're gonna have to have a free hand though. For you, you're gonna need a pen, and I want you to put that pen into your non-preferred hand. In other words, like I'm a right-handed writer, I'm going to grab that pen and put it in my left hand. And that's where you need that little scrap of paper now. And what I'd like you to do is just, like this signature here of Victor Hugo, just sign your first name like your first part of your signature, or your full signature, as you would like to do. You choose. But do that with your non-preferred hand at first. And then I'd like you to tell me in the chat, just describe with just brief 2-3 words, what did that feel like? So once again, if you didn't catch that, take your pen in your non-preferred hand, sign your name as best you can, and tell me in the chat, how did that feel? What was that experience like? Describe it in 3 or 4 words if you like. So uncomfortable, awkward, hilarious, uncoordinated, really loose feeling, okay? Impossible, just a scribble, very awkward. Yeah, keep it coming, keep it coming. Sloppy, wobbly, frustrating. Hey, these are helpful descriptors. Thank you. Felt like I was doing something very familiar, but it wasn't. That's a way of putting it like I've never seen before. So that's cool. Like it wasn't me. I could do it, but it looked different than I expected. Opposite slant requires concentration. There's a really helpful observation right there. Awkward, weird. I'm quite ambidextrous, so it was okay. A very interesting point. Thank you. That is going to come up in a few minutes. We're going to talk about ambidexterity, that ability to go right hand or left hand, and its importance to our understanding of personality type. Very awkward and wrong. Okay, very good. These are really great, helpful descriptions. Okay, take your pen and switch hands. Put it in your preferred hand and sign your name again, and then compare those two experiences. Again, a few words in chat to describe how you felt about that second signature in comparison to the first. All right, thanks, Sarah. Shannon's getting us started with confident, easy, and natural. Weird, uncomfortable, and frustrating. I'm assuming you're going back to the first one there, Harm. And now the second one, smooth, no thought. Thanks, Joe, for pointing that out. And normal, says Francis. Oh, Zach says, like I was in control. Yeah, I just got to stop a second here, let a few more people in. Still coming in. Or possibly some might have to get out of the webinar to fix an audio situation. Okay, I'm just going to go back and find out where I was here reading those interesting descriptions. Okay, in comparison, it was like my inner child wrote the first one, but the second was like nature. Okay, good. Rehearsed. Yeah, like you've done this before, right? Yeah. Like nothing. Does not require concentration or extra effort. I can do it easily and I'd flourish. I like that. A normal, easy, confident, accurate. Excellent. These are really helpful descriptions, and that comparison is what we want to get into today and look at what do we say about the origin of this right-handedness, left-handedness? Does it come about through nature? Is it inherited? Or is it through nurture? Is it something that is produced through our interaction in the environment, through learning, maybe through imitating a parent? Psychologists study this stuff. They don't know the final answer. They see how both sides impact children. Think about a toddler picking up a crayon for the first time and maybe writing on the wall or on the carpet or on the floor. And the parent comes, oh, hey, here, yeah, take that crayon and here's a coloring book. And away they go. Do they decide at that point which hand to use? It seems like there's a natural, just jump right in, go with it. And so this, I'm seeing in chat here lots of conversation continuing there. Yes, Victor Hugo, one of my favorite authors, is that's why I just use the signature because it looks cool. But he is one of my favorite authors from France. And that's really all that has to do with it, is just we wanted a model of a signature up there. And so we have a francophone among us. Très bien, bienvenue. We are going to continue on to go into why right-handedness and left-handedness is going to be so important here. We're looking at the choice between right-handedness, left-handedness. I just want to quickly mention ambidexterity, which was raised in the chat there a few moments ago. Right-handed and left-handed writers can develop the opposite. And I know of one professor who could write with both hands equally well, and he would do this during his lecture on the whiteboard, different colored pens and that. Amazing. Not many people can do that, but there's some level of comfort, and it's not everyone's practiced enough. My grandfather tells, or my father tells about my grandfather, who was quite ambidextrous. He was forced as a young boy to put his left hand behind his back, which was his preferred hand for writing, and the teacher forced him to use his right hand. And my dad said into adulthood, he still couldn't read his dad's handwriting because it was bad in either hand. But he did develop great proficiency in using tools with either hand. So as a plumber and electrician, my grandfather was able to get into nooks and crannies and around equipment and structure to use tools in either hand. Why is that important? I'm going to bring it up a little later. I'm going to leave you with that little image in mind. People can develop both hands and practice and become quite proficient. And yes, it is in sports. It is in all kinds of other areas where ambidexterity can come in. It's a rare feat for somebody to achieve that ambidexterity at a high professional level. And so we'll get into why that's important in a little while. First, we want to talk now about not right-handedness, left-handedness, but the preferences that are measured in the personality type assessment, the first assessment on type focus. It's based on the Myers-Briggs type indicator, which was developed initially through the writings of psychoanalyst Carl Jung, who passed out in the 1960s. Well, in the 1940s, Isabel Briggs Myers and her Myers and Briggs, two women. They were related by one of them being the mother-in-law to the other, and they worked together for decades, developing the assessment tools, testing them, researching, continuing to write and explore this whole concept of how do we determine personality type based on the theories developed in the work of Carl Jung. He determined that there are preferences people have, and there are, in fact, 16 types based on these 4 dichotomies. We're going to go through these each one by one. So first off, extroversion versus introversion. Each of you, if you finished that assessment, would have results indicating 4 letters. The first being either an I or an E. E for extroversion, I for introversion. The key question that is being answered here is, what is your source of energy? Extroverts prefer, and their preferences for social settings, they gain energy from the group. The introvert, they expend energy in that social setting. They gain their energy through quiet reflection, solitude, maybe listen to music, reading a book. Being alone is where the introvert gains their energy, and they expend that in the social setting. Again, back to the extrovert, they gain their energy in the social setting. They expend their energy in solitude. That's where there's the opposite preference there. So it's about source of energy, and you can probably relate to that in some way. We're going to leave it at that for now. I will bring it up here. Some people consider themselves both. They might say they're not extroverted or introverted, but ambiverted. Ambivert, ambidextrous. This is why I raised that ambidexterity image. It's a metaphor for this very preference scale here between extroversion and introversion. And so when you think about an introvert who's comfortable in social settings, they might think they're ambiverted. Or an extrovert who's comfortable being alone, they might think that they are ambiverted. Carl Jung's theory would allow for that, not using that term, but it happens in a different way than you'd expect. It's not about a natural preference. It's about a preference for one or the other, and then life maturity happens, growth happens, development happens through life experience. And a person who is introverted becomes that much more comfortable, maybe through some kind of work situation. And there we go. Diane, thank you for sharing. I'm extroverted at work, introvert in social situations. And so you're putting yourself out there. Now, I would have to ask Diane, do you need some time alone to regain that energy level you need for work? If you have to go from your I guess a work situation, yeah. So you're introverted, and yet you have learned, you have grown into that role at work through that growth and maturity, and you matured in that way to embrace the extroverted. But you know that you absolutely need that time alone to recharge your battery, so to speak. So I'm sure each of us can relate to that in some way. I'm going to go on to the next set. We will return to these in more depth in a little bit, okay? The next set of preferences that you were asked to choose between in that assessment was sensing or intuition. Notice that the N is the second letter in the word intuition, right? So that's because the I is already taken for introversion. We have to use the N to represent intuition. This has to do with the other one is sensing. So sensing, S, or N for intuition will be your second letter, S or N. The difference there is how you gather information. And you probably guess, so sensors, they're going to be gathering information through their five senses: sight, hearing, touch. Those are the three primary, and then there's also taste and smell. The intuitives, however, they take that information and they immediately move into interpreting that information, looking at the bigger picture, seeing how it fits together as a whole. And so then the intuitives they jump right into that interpretive step before they even think about it. Really, it's a natural response. The third set, decision making, has the T or the F, thinking or feeling. Thinkers tend to make decisions based on a logical, rational approach, and they do not want emotion to impact that decision-making process or its outcome. However, the feelers embrace the emotion, cannot think about making a decision without considering how they feel about it, often making that decision based on subjective values that they hold dear. And they also consider the feelings of others. So the feeler will know their own emotions well, and they will also pick up on the emotions of others, especially in decision making, thinking about how will my decision impact the people around me. And so, again, two very different preferences. The third letter is going to be between the J or the P. This has to do with how you relate, interact with the outer world, or the external world. The J for judgers. Don't think this is a negative thing. I know judging has a negative connotation in certain contexts, but in this context, this is a very positive word. Judgers are careful planners. They are very well organized, and judgers make decisions fairly quickly with the information at hand. Perceivers, they are going to be more open-ended. Judgers like control and closure. Perceivers, they have no problem with open-endedness, spontaneity. Go with the flow, making changes to the plan in an instant. And so judgers, very carefully planned, carry it out. Perceivers, go with the flow. Yeah, I get a plan together, but you adapt and change on the fly. So different approaches to how you relate to the external world. I'm just going to double check the the chat here to see if there's any questions that I need to be looking at. I see lots of sharing going on, and okay. Okay. Yeah, okay, some sharing going on. Whether you agree or disagree with Carl Jung is beyond the scope of our webinar today. We don't have the time to go into that. We're going to use this as a tool to help you understand yourself better. And in order to take the results of the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator that you did through the Type Focus platform and verify them, we've got some activities we're going to do together. And again, we're going to use chat to do this. So just answer the questions in a single chat message. If you break it down into multiple chats, it'll just get mixed up. It'll be really hard for me to keep track of. So keep it into one chat. You're going to answer, like for example, this first activity we're going to do together is called Describe Your Ideal Vacation. Yeah, think about vacation. Now, ideal. This means you have the money, you have a paid time off from a good job, and you get to choose where you're going to go, what you're going to do. And I'd like you to just, in one chat message, briefly answer the following little questions. Where would you go? What's your destination for your dream vacation? What would you like to do there? What kind of activities? What kind of accommodations would you stay in? And please tell me as well, who would you go with? And if you're going with let's say you say family, as an example, tell me how many are in the family. How many people would you go with if you're going with more than one? All right, so go ahead and give me that in one chat message, please. All right, so we got some answers coming in there. Very good. Keep it coming. Remember to answer all 4 questions in one chat message. All right, so at the end of each of these activities I'm going to do with you, I'll explain why we're doing them. I'll take a few examples, just point them out. Okay, the staycation. And so someone that's staying home alone. And that's unique, yeah, staying home alone. And that would be restful. Okay. I'm gonna go down to tropical island. That's Miss Jackson, tropical island. No people around, just me and my dog. Explore the island, set up camp, have a home base, but always have camping gear so you can just move all around. Okay, and on your own with your dog. Okay, so there's one example we'll look at alongside the one with the staycation. And Okay, another one that fits in with that, the Mike, the Kiev museums, nude beach, nest restaurants, hostel, myself. There, we're going to group those together. Okay, I got staycation again. Okay, so those kinds of examples there, they would reflect what likely would be. I'm not going to give a definitive answer, but your answers reflect an introverted response. Typically, introverts need that time alone to recharge, and they are social. I want to make sure we don't confuse introversion with the myths in our culture around, oh, introverts are timid, shy, unsociable, or not talkative, or there's all kinds of myths around. This is not the case. Carl Jung's theory and all the observations since that time around introversion point to people who are introverted being very reflective, deep thinkers, very expressive, highly social. Many of them become excellent leaders, public speakers, teachers. There are many, many introverts in these different roles. So it's about energy, not about activity. So think about where you regain energy. So introverts, they typically take a vacation alone or with maybe one significant other person. And then they tend to take activity and then take time out for recharging. Extroverts, on the other hand, you can imagine, let's see, I'm going to try and find one here. Okay, here's one. This would be an extrovert type holiday, I think. From what we got here, agenda. I would like to go on a road trip around North America, visiting all the roadside attractions, staying in a luxury RV with my 3 children and my parents. So that's a group of 6 people in an RV. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. And okay, let's see, we got Lydia, Sweden. I meet relatives I've never met. I would stay at their homes or in a bed and breakfast close by or a lodge. I would go with my husband or one of my adult kids. So again, lots of people focus there. That would tend, in my opinion, towards Lydia being extroverted, gaining energy from being with people. Looking for other examples. I'm seeing lots of introverted type examples. I see South Coast, Diani Beach, Kenya. Walk along the white sandy beaches, snorkeling, boat trips, and a service oceanside cottage with my 4 children. Yeah, that's a good sized group right there. Again, being with people and all that activity, it points to extroversion. And just because an extrovert gains their energy from being a group doesn't mean an extrovert can't appreciate time alone. Again, the theory allows for that. And through growth and personal experience, that can come about. And that an extrovert can be comfortable in times of solitude. But the energy comes back. The energy is built up in those times with people. Okay, looks like there's another one there. Okay, so new country, some country I haven't been to. I'd like mid cheap quality inns to stay in, but the people I travel with prefer hotels. So okay, you have some typical trips. You are a vacation, fellow vacationers. Okay, 2 or 3 people and the family. Though I'd love the chance to do a trip with friends. Okay, so again, that's looking like extroversion. For what we do, I do like some downtime. It wouldn't be all action, but besides that, I can explore the area and see what stuff I can learn about the place. Yeah, okay. Again, with extroverts and introverts, you've got yes, everybody likes to do activity. Everybody likes to socialize. Extroverts gain their energy from that. They like to plan their vacations with lots of activity and people. And whereas introverts, they like to have that spaced out where they can pull away into their maybe a hotel room or Airbnb bedroom where they have that time to recharge, read a book, listen to music, take a nap, that kind of thing. If you can give me 1 second, I suddenly got the clouds breaking up here and the sun's shining through. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to close the blind. All right, that's a little better. Thanks for your patience. And let me just check to see anybody. I see we've got a hand up. And Rula, how are you doing, Rula? You want to talk? You want to ask the question? You need to hit your unmute button. There you go. Got it. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So Rula, that points towards introversion, where you're gaining your energy from that smaller group size, intimate setting, just that one-to-one, and having that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. The key the key is good relationships for you. Mm-hmm. Good. Mm-hmm. Okay. 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 Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So when we define this activity here, it's all about where do you get your energy. And the introvert tends to be in that more intimate setting, one person, maybe another added to a very small group, and not these back to back to back activities, but spaced out. Extroverts like the back to back to back with a group of friends, a bigger family, and lots of interaction. And it's not about whether you're like social people, or it's really about, okay, where do I get my energy? That's the key question. Do I need that time alone, or do I need to be with the group? All right, we're going to move along to the next activity, and we're going to look at a painting together. So take a look at this painting. For those of you that are on smaller screens, you might have to squint a little to look at this one. I'd like it in the chat, and again, one message, just tell me, what do you see? What do you observe? What do you feel about, with this painting by Winslow Homer, an American painter from, I believe, the late 1800s, early 1900s? What do you feel, see, observe in the painting?
Hey, Kevin, looks like the picture changed back to
My
the previous slide.
my apologies. I must have had a
All
button there.
good, all good.
No, we're going this way. Oh, thank you for alerting me to that. There we go. I see there's a pirate among us who's got the lingo down. Mike, thanks for that one. Yar, he be heading outwards. And lost, Rula says. One word answer. Very brief. Okay, we'll come back to those. Hard man, or sorry, a man hard at work, possibly providing for his family, or perhaps he's enjoying his hobby. Freedom and fear. A guy wishing he was on the bigger boat. Again, every time I do this activity with people, I see unique answers. It's just amazing. He got the big fish, a lucky fisherman. Cold, stormy weather may not get back to shore with his fish. A lucky fishing day. Oh, there's the Mike's back at it again there. Just for the halibut? Okay. Relaxation after a day of fishing. Diane sees peace. Okay. I see someone who has had a great adventure and has got himself a nice catch to take home. Here we go. McKenna, thank you. Man in a rowboat, couple of white fish, choppy water, ship in the distance. Sky is lightening, it seems. Morning or maybe after a storm. Man is looking to the ship, but for reasons that could be myriad. Gray water. I'm going to jump in right here and say McKenna's answer is a really good example of a sensor's answer. Look at the level of detail, the concrete facts observable in the painting. The boat, a couple of white fish, the condition of the water. Compare that with an intuitive answer. Let me go back up to Cody's answer, freedom, fear, and then down to Diane's, peace, or Rula's, lost. These are intuitive answers. These are interpretive. They've taken the picture as a whole and boiled it down to what their subjective interpretation is all about. Let me see if I'll go down and see if I can see a few other examples here. Okay. London Howard makes me thinking of my old work in trading as a captain, tired, wet, but persevering. So again, that's more of an intuitive answer. Immediately, you're drawing in your personal experience that it reminds you of that. Okay, another sensor answer. Man rowing his boat after catching a fish to another location to catch more. Okay, here's again more of an interpretive answer, an intuitive answer. The halibut is big because it took him 1,000,000 tries to get a goal that he. Yes, Francis, your note is well said. It's amazing the different perceptions. Yes, yes. And so, okay, McKenna, you're the one who answered a very sensory answer. You have said it's interesting because you're an INFP. That is really, and that is something we're going to talk about in a little bit. That sense of, hey, that doesn't line up. That's a contradiction. So we'll look at that question. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay. let's just break this down quickly so we can move on to the next activity. But just so you get a sense of why we're doing this one, your sensor answer is going to tend to work on describing those concrete observable details in the painting. The fish, the fishing tackle, the oars, the water, the condition of the sky, the ship on the horizon, the kind of hat that the fisherman is wearing, or maybe his raincoat. These are the details that the sensor is going to point out. An intuitive answer gets into the meaning, into the interpretation, and that is the fear, the courage, the peace, lost. These are interpretations based on the individual's perception. There's a subjective, personal bias in that, and it's of course personal biases in all of us. So that is a fascinating activity to determine the difference between a sensor and a feeler. Now, McKenna has indicated she's a sensor or an intuitive. I got those mixed up there. Sensor or intuitive, and so McKenna gave a sensor answer and an intuitive in her results from Type Focus. What do we do with that? What we need to do, McKenna, is look at your results, and there's on the tab in Type Focus. Let me just bring that to the screen here. I'm going to show you a page you can go to in your Type Focus results. And I'm going to just switch from showing you slides. So stop sharing here. Just give me a second to bring up that other screen. You should be able to see the Type Focus page on my demonstration account. And on that page, you can see the clicked on the portfolio tab here. On the portfolio tab, you get a full view of all the assessment results. 3 assessments. So your personality, your interests, and top 3 values. Those are all factored into the results for the next step that I'll explain in a few minutes. You'll notice here there's what we call a preference clarity graph. And for this particular case, the preference clarity is really strong. It's very clear. So with extroversion, intuition, thinking, and perceiving. Where that is perhaps the line is only showing somewhat clear, then, for example, with McKenna, we might ask, oh, okay, maybe that there was some kind of influence on how you answer those questions. There are all kinds of different situations that can come up, whether it's social pressure, or it could be middle age, it could be expectations that you might have on yourself. It could be stress. And yeah, every one of you is in a stressful situation or you wouldn't be here. There are all kinds of stressors that people face. So we have a fascinating set of circumstances. The best case scenario, when you take the assessments, you're in a relaxed state and you don't overthink your answers. The most natural state, we could call it a shoes off state, where you're just in that sitting on the couch, maybe a cup of tea or some way you find really relaxing, and then you do the answering and don't take your time. Just go through it. Boom, 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 boom. That's the best way. So there's all kinds of different ways that can help you to get the true type, was what we're going after here. So there's a difference between we call your test type your assessment results from type focus are considered your test type. And it's not really a test because it's not right or wrong answers. They're all about preferences, not about right or wrong answers, like math test. That's the different case altogether. So the case there where you don't have the same letter coming up as your assessment results, we've got that contradiction. We want to look at a few factors like that. The preference clarity graph. We also want to talk about, okay, was that your go-to, like that's your typical answer, your to a question about how you take in information? Are you into the details, the observable facts? Those things that can be a big challenge to determine the difference between the two if you have matured and grown into a more intuitively minded thinker. Okay, let me go back up here in the chat here. I'm trained as a scientist, which is likely the reason. So possibly an intuitive that has trained to be a scientist, trained to be a sensor. If that is what I'm understanding. Interesting. And that's helpful to share what you're training. That's a great example of how that impacts our growth and development. Remember that the 8 different preferences. In other words, there's 4 dichotomies, 4 pairs, right? All of us have elements of all 8. Everybody has some level of intuition, for example. Everybody has some level of sensing, but we have a preference where it's like a default setting for one over the other. That's where we go. That's where we naturally answer. All right, we're going to do one more of these activities. And so, again, if you can just answer in the chat the challenge. So I want you to imagine that you're on your first day in a new job and your boss is giving you a project to complete by the 30th of the month. And it's the 1st of the month. So the project start date indicated there, that Monday, the project due date, the final Friday of the month. It should take about 24 hours worth of work to complete. Just type into the chat the number of the day, like the date of the month that you would start the project.
Sorry, when did you say it was due?
Due at the very end of the month. So you've got about 30 days and like the full month. So tell me which day you'd start it. There we go. That's right. Just put the number in like you're doing. Excellent. And yes, Miss Jackson, I'd like to address that comment, your last one there about your personality changed since you were in high school. Yeah, I'll talk about that in a few minutes. Thanks for raising that. Okay, we've got numbers from a bunch of people here. Excellent. The 28th, 26th. Oh, 28th, Diane adds LOL. I wonder about that one. Yeah. We'll get to that. 26th, day 4, first day. 25th, 4th, 1st, 20. Yeah, all first week or second or last week. Well, we got an 18th there. Very precise number. Or 23rd of the month for Ethan. 18th for Zach. Okay. Okay, McKenna's thinking it through very carefully. This is the only thing on my plate. Then immediately, if mixed with other responsibilities, then in triage order of most importance. Probably like the 20th, but only get myself to do the tiniest bits, like until like the 28th because I'm bad. Okay, Reese, that we need to look at that last comment there. I'm bad. Laugh, LOL. There are strengths with every component of this Myers-Briggs type indicator. That's how Carl Jung saw it in his theory. We see the strengths. So I'm going to bring this out now. I'm going to take that example of like, especially Reese's example there as a perceiver answer. And I'll go back to like, okay, we can choose Sam, Francis, Troy, Cody, Diane, Janda. All of you have answered really early in the month. That's a typical judger's answer. What's the difference again? Judgers are careful planners. They organize things really well. They're excellent with meeting deadlines. And so these are the strengths of that judger type. Whereas the perceiver type, much more open, go with the flow, spontaneous. Some people confuse the perceiver with procrastination. Judgers can learn to procrastinate too, but perceivers are spontaneous. They are like a go with the flow. They embrace the open-endedness of an incompleted project, for example, during that month, and they get energized by that deadline looming during those last few days. Some people call it procrastination. It's not necessarily so. I see a hand raised there. Okay, you go ahead. McKenna. Okay, go ahead, McKenna. Unmute your microphone.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Perfect. So quick question, I guess, is how would you talk about in this area the difference between what you would like to do and what your, I guess, mind allows you to do? Because, for example, in my answer that I gave to this question is that I would want to start on it immediately and or triage order depending. That's what I would like to do. That's my best case scenario. However, I also know myself quite well, and things end up
Okay.
being procrastinated. Sometimes quite severely, because I also know that depending on what it is, my anxiety will stop me from doing things up until potentially the last possible moment where it is at a point where I can't be indecisive anymore and therefore have to make decisions because there is no time to not make decisions. And so I guess how would you describe that difference there or interpret that difference there? Because the one is what I would prefer to do or would prefer my mind/body to allow me to do, and the other one is what actually happens.
This raises one of those examples of one of the complicating factors. So if you are struggling with anxiety, that's usually a sign of some kind of stress. Stress is going to impact how you typically answer a question like this one.
I do have generalized anxiety disorder, so it's
Okay.
unfortunately not something that goes away either. So it's
Yeah.
regardless essentially of whether I am medicated or unmedicated, it is a persistent portion of myself.
Mhm.
And so while yes, it is a stress in response to a stressor, when everything is a stressor to some degree, it becomes not I don't know if you can value it quite the same as an acute stressor. Chronic stress being different than acute stress, of course.
Yeah. So again, these are the complicating factors that make determining what is your actual preference a little more challenging. That is definitely the case here. And so that'd be something I would need more time with a person such as yourself to discuss how that anxiety manifests and where you see that coming up and in your past and there's so many questions I would need to discuss with you. And so that's you can imagine now the scope of possibilities for different kinds of complicating factors that can impact how our personalities develop. Carl Jung, again, his theory allows for somebody if you're growing up in a caring, loving, supportive environment, you can embrace those elements of your personality type and develop those strengths. Whereas in for example, a different case altogether, someone who grows up in a difficult childhood with trauma, that is going to impact not just the chemical functioning of the brain and development of the brain, that there's going to be a underdevelopment in terms of the natural preferences. For example, if their preferred um, uh, type is extroversion, but they need to hide to be safe, they embrace that more introversion, and they grow into it out of that situation. And of course, those are that's from case scenarios that we've looked into, or stories that we've heard from clients. So these are complicating factors. So thanks for raising that one. It sounds to me like your preference is going to still be judger, and the complicating factor of your anxiety is going to impact how you procrastinate. Not so much your preference, but your personality type, but it's the complicating factor that brings out the procrastination. I need to just stop here so we can go into the next stage of this. I need to tell you also, we skipped a dichotomy. We skipped a pair, the thinking and the feeling, which is a much more challenging one to determine through. And so we don't have time for or an activity for that one today. But again, I want to review that with you briefly. So the third letter is going to be either a T or an F for thinking or feeling. T for thinking, you make decisions in a thoughtful, like a logical, rational approach. Again, with emotions out of the equation as best you can. The feeler tends to embrace the emotion, thinking, how do I feel about this decision? How is it going to impact others? How would they feel about this? And so that's something really, that emotion is an integral part of the decision making for the feeler. All right. As we move into that next stage, I want to just look at a type table with you. This is a glimpse of some characteristics associated with the different types. And you'll notice some of them, of course, are common, like right across the top row. These are all introverted. Depth of concentration is a key indicator, or a characteristic, I should say, a key characteristic of an introvert. They are deep thinkers. They are thoughtful. They are reflective. So depth of concentration on a single subject. Where you go down 2 rows to the third row there, the extroverted row, that first one, where you see just all E's across, it's a breadth of interests. So extroverts tend to have many interests. If we go to the next letter, the S, those are the first 2 columns, up and down. The sensors, reliance on facts. And if you go to the last 2 columns, those are the intuitive columns, grasp of possibilities. The intuitives are able to grasp those, grasp all kinds of possible ways you could take a particular idea or set of ideas. The thinkers, that's the thinkers are, again, the outside columns. Logic and analysis are strengths or characteristics. And the last set, the J's. So the J's are the top. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed one. The feelers are the middle 2 columns. My apologies. The feelers are the middle 2 columns, warmth and sympathy. And lastly, the judgers, those are the top row and the bottom row, organization. And the perceivers, the middle 2 rows,
Hi,
are
sorry, Kevin.
adaptability. So yes, go ahead.
I don't think you switched. Sorry. I don't think you didn't show us. I'm still seeing the ENTP, your shared screen.
My apologies. Thank you for
No.
saying that because I completely forgot to switch back. Oh, okay. We're going to do that again. Okay, you should see that coming up now.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks.
Okay. Find your type on the type table. If you haven't done your results yet, then do a quick screenshot so you can look this up later. You can find your type on there. So these are characteristics that are associated with each of those types. Some of them are, of course, they have some common letters, like I mentioned, the introversion, the top two rows, depth of concentration. The bottom two rows, extroversion, the breadth of interests. So introverts are really good focus. Extroverts, they can handle many different things. I wouldn't say simultaneously, multitasking. It's maybe a case of just doing many things poorly for some people, but extroverts can have they go from idea to idea, activity to activity very quickly. Keep things moving. When we get to the S and the T, the S and the N, sorry, sensing, intuition, that pair. The sensors are the first two columns up and down. Where the intuitives, the last two columns are about grasp of possibilities. When we go over to the third letter, the T or the F, the thinking or the feeling, you have the T's, you have those, the outside two columns. Logic and analysis. Again, making decisions through that logical, rational approach. And the feelers, the middle two columns, warmth and sympathy. So often associated with the feelers, heightened empathy, compassion. Whereas the thinkers, it's that logic and analysis that is so valuable. And the last pair, the J and the P, the J's are the bottom row and top row, organization for that characteristic associated with judging, and adaptability associated with those middle two rows for the perceivers. This is just one more way to take a look at the type that you saw on your results and say, okay, does this describe me? Do these characteristics seem to describe me? Think of your workplace, think of your home life, think of your hobbies. Don't just think it in one context of life. Try to think broadly in your different activities of your life. I'm going to show you another type table in the next slide. Give me 1 second to bring that up here. Occupational trends now. Now, how do we understand this? This is about surveys done that have shown, okay, we've got amongst those who identify as ISTJ, for example, the top left of the table, we find a lot of those are managers, administrators, law enforcement officers, and accountants. So yeah, fascinating to see the trends among the types. So you can take a look at, again, your type and see, okay, where does that fit? This is definitely not something that is indicating what you should do. That's your choice. You determine your career path. Lydia, I see your comment. I think sometimes we are forced to do something that develops skills that run counter to our type. I think this is a very common experience. Due to what employment, for example, what employment was available in a particular community, maybe a small community where people look for work and just they need to pay their bills. And so, yes, then you develop skills that don't necessarily match up at all. For example, somebody who has to do customer service, who's not particularly good with interpersonal skills, they would rather be doing something with their hands, building something. That develops those skills of working with people, but it's never something that a person is comfortable with and fulfilled by. Whereas when they go home and go to the backyard and work on something like building a tree house for their children, they are in heaven. They are filled with joy because they're doing something with their hands that they're really good at, or maybe just practicing a skill that they haven't, that's underdeveloped, but it gives them such joy because it fits their personality. So very good point there. Very
Yeah,
good point.
sorry. I just want to make a point around that. Yeah, like I'm ISFP, but like I'm looking at the occupations right now, and I don't really see a particular. I don't have a particular interest in any of them. So I think,
Healthcare, business, law enforcement. Okay.
yeah. So I think, yeah, I do think, yeah, you were saying that like, it's like there's a huge like difference between like how that applies to the workplace and how that applies to your regular life. And yeah.
Thank you. All right, I see another comment there, Lydia. I'm a teacher, ENFP, but hate doing assessment or organizing the class. This comment perfectly fits ENFP. Yeah, you're going to be creative. You're going to be spontaneous. You're going to be very highly relational. Yeah, but all those little details, put those on somebody else. Please, just give them to someone else. But give me the people and I will thrive. Yeah. So yeah, people who can relate to that situation. Yeah, take a look at your own and see, hey, what's going on here? Am I in the right place? Am I seeing the results? Are they describing me accurately? Let's really start with that question. And so, like with Lydia's answer there, or comment, sorry, that being a teacher, ENFP, that really fits. There are many teachers amongst the ENFPs, but the ENFPs are not fans of administration, organization, taking assessments, careful planning, all those little details. They're big picture thinkers, creative, and very highly relational. Okay, I see your case. I'm going to go back to Sam. I am an ENTP, and it's funny because I used to be a technical theater major where I worked strictly on the technical side and stage management. Yes, that would that depending on the level of detail there, and if they're restricted from really expressing your creative side, that could be really restrictive, feeling like you don't belong. Okay, Lydia, that's a good question. Now, how can I get the skills to make this easier? Yes, how can you actually become more judger, thinker, sensor for those details? Yeah, that takes practice, training, takes a lot of energy. And in the teaching world, I used to be a teacher myself, so understand like you don't get to have a secretary for your classroom or an administrative assistant. And so that's where learning some, like technological tools and that kind of thing can be of help, but that's something that's always going to be a stressor for an ENTP or ENFP. If you have completed your result, all your assessments, you have your results, and you feel like they are accurate, you are ready for the next stage. I'll just go into that right now to show you the link between Type Focus and Work BC. And so you're going to see, you should see on your screen right now, I just did a quick screenshot, but I'm going to go to I'm going to go back to that, the live website, so I can show you how it works briefly. Makes it a little easier to see the steps that you need to take. They're quite simple. Just going to stop sharing that slide and go to the website. All right, so you should be seeing the Type Focus website with the ENTP personality type. And with this being on the portfolio page, I need to switch over to the Explore page. So Explore Occupations. That's actually the second page after the assessments. So just a brief review here. Once these are all completed, you can move on to your Explore page. If you feel like those assessment results are accurate, you can go here and go explore with a little more confidence. Oh yeah, I hear somebody wants to ask a question.
Chat for talking about the content that's presented in the prior assignments and on screen by the program coordinator. Thanks.
Sorry, I'm just not sure I heard that. Was that a question? Sorry. Okay, maybe not. Okay, let's go. Let's just look at the Explore page. I'm going to open it up to view more and just explain this table briefly. You're going to see the name of an occupation here in the second column. You can work on saving your top choices if you like, but this second column, this is your list of suggested occupations. And I want to stress that word suggested. This is not a website, a tool telling you what to do, suggesting, because they line up with your personality type, your interests, and your values has found fulfillment in this area. It's interesting, it's invigorating, they enjoy this kind of work. And so you can see the 3 check marks indicates 3 for 3 on those assessment results line up with, for example, in this case, audio and video equipment technician. There's a column called career cluster, which is a kind of umbrella title for the industry. And then there's a job zone. You can see here, if I hover my mouse over that link for job zone, it tells you how much preparation is needed. It's a code. Each number there represents a different level of education and training required. So number 1 may require high school. Number 2 requires high school plus additional training. A 3 is it's usually a 1-year or a 2-year program in an institution like BCIT or a community college or university. An associate's degree is usually a 2-year program in a particular field. And number 4 in that column represents a bachelor program, a 4-year degree. And then a 5 represents a master's degree or doctorate. It is a really simple thing to say, okay, hey, I'm interested in just exploring audio and video equipment technician. So I'll click on that link there. Another Type Focus page opens up. It gives a little more information. But where I want to take you is the BC information page. That button right there, BC information, takes you to the Work BC site. Now, I believe I need to switch. Are you still seeing the Type Focus page?
Work BC now.
You're seeing Work BC. Okay, I wasn't sure if it would switch or not. Thank you. So this audio and video recording technician with the NOC code, that's NOC for National Occupation Classification 5225, that's your title for a career profile on the Work BC website. There are 500 Work BC career profiles organized by economists who studied our local economy and make 10-year forecasts for our local economy and bring you all kinds of extremely valuable information on the career overview, education, training, and skills required. So you can go through this, for example, and look at duties, earnings, work environment, what are some of the related careers, what occupational interests are typical of people in this field, what are some associated job titles, and goes even a little further. The next tab is education, training, and skills. And you can go look down and see what general information about what's required. And then if you're interested in going further, you can simply click on Visit Education Planner BC. This opens up another website, and it shows we have found 18 programs that fit your search. With one click, you can see which schools in BC, and they're mostly publicly funded schools, not the private schools. Which publicly funded schools offer programs related to that particular career? And so you can explore that and go through the list of programs available. So again, with just a few clicks, you can be getting really helpful information, and it's right at your fingertips. So beyond the education and training component on that WorkBC page, you can go down to skills. It actually breaks down and shows you a detailed list of skills and a ranking of how important that skill is in that particular work environment. So that's a really nice way to research and get to explore career results suggested by your personality type, interests, what's your professional interests, and your values. Those are all taken into consideration into the research done by TypeFocus and into the career options that are then suggested for you. I will stop sharing that screen now. This time I remembered I got to take that step. And we'll go back to the slide where we were. Very good. So I've just shown you how to take this step from going from TypeFocus to the workbc.ca website. Again, a really helpful way to do your research. Cody, you have brought up something I'm going to get into right now. ownandonline.org is better than TypeFocus for an extensive list of jobs, but it doesn't do it by personality assessment. It only bases it on, I believe you can search by professional interests as the key indicator, and that's based on an assessment we're going to look at right now. What's my code? So the second assessment in TypeFocus is called interests. We call them professional interests, or other terms used are Holland Code or the RIASIC. And I'll explain where those terms come from in a second here. So this is about the professional interest assessment. We'll explain this diagram here, this hexagon with the 6 areas of professional interest. According with his team down in the United States, many years ago, they did extensive research into workplaces in every industry. And they determined that, according to their theory, there are 6 areas of principal interest and associated with every known job. And so this fascinating theory was tested and researched extensively, so that now many career professionals use this daily with clients to help them determine, okay, what am I interested in? Where am I going with this? Now let's give you a quick video here to I'm not sure you'll get the sound on this. Let me just try this out here. Are you able to see this and hear it? Just let me know.
We can see it. Maybe no sound coming through.
Give me a second here to try that again. Yes, there we go.
To perform better and to earn more. The RIASEC is a research-backed tool that helps us make those matches. Each person and each job typically aligns with 2 to 3 of the 6 RIASEC interest themes. Realistic doers are practical, mechanical, and active. Investigative thinkers are curious, rational, and analytical. Artistic creators are imaginative, expressive, and creative. Social helpers are supportive, understanding, and patient. Enterprising persuaders are ambitious, talkative, and assertive. Conventional organizers are orderly, methodical, and efficient. You can take a quiz at workforce.org/RIASEC to see how closely your interests align with hundreds of different careers. Use it to discover jobs that match your interests that you may not even know exist yet.
All right, so just to sum up, that little video there just introduces the concept that I'll give you some examples about right now. Every employee, according to this Dr. Holland's theory, has a set of 3, and these are indicated in your assessment results and type focus, your top 3 areas of professional interests. And so that's the agenda. That quiz or that assessment is built right into the type focus system that we used, and your results will be there for you to see. And so again, some just a quick examples. The realistic is a doer, great with their hands, outdoor pursuits, athletics. Automotive technician is a great example. An investigative, they use their mind. Thinkers, they are good with computer and digital media programming, for example. The artistic could be a web designer, a hairstylist, someone who uses their creative flair. The social would be someone who's involved with people. It is more the caring, we call the caring economy. Care aides, educational assistants, community support workers, all the way through to doctors and nurses. Would be a key area for those careers. And over on the other side of the hexagon, we have the enterprising. These are the persuaders, and they are typically moving into leadership positions, management, often self-employed entrepreneurs. So they could be employed, they could be employees, they could be employers, they could be managers, supervisors, salespeople with that persuasive element. And lastly, the C for conventional. These are the organizers, those that have those great administrative abilities, bookkeepers, administrative assistants, for example. So there you have it. Those are the 6 key areas. And yes, I'll show you another website right now where you can focus in, like Cody mentioned. ONET Online, the website we're going to show you, is an American website. So once you get a job title, you can pull it over and search for that job title in the Canadian system. Of course, the jobs that are going to be advertised or linked to the results in the ONET Online are going to be in the United States. So that's not going to help us too much. But you can do this, this simple little step here. I'll just bring up that website. So I can I'll put the link, actually, I'm going to put the link right into the chat so you can get to it easily. Okay. And share a screenshot, or I'll share a live view actually of that page. You should be able to see that now coming up on your screen. So if you're going to take your second assessment results, it's going to be 3 letters this time. Maybe it's going to be S for social, A for artistic, and E for enterprising. Let's take that, SAE. Well, you're going to take that over here to onetonline.org. You're going to click on ONET data and then click on interests. And since the example I gave was social, artistic, and enterprising, I'm going to click on the first one, social. You can see all 6 are here: realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. All areas, all 6 areas of the RIASIC or Holland Code. So I'll click on social, and you can see on the next page, your next step, it's already filled in here for you, your first interest, and you have drop-down menus for your second and third areas of interest. So I'm going to add in there, we said artistic and enterprising. You don't have to add all 3, by the way. And in fact, if you, I should say here, on ONET Online, they give you the list of available job titles, and it just goes on and on and on. We want to filter that out to just focus in on those that are social, artistic, enterprising. So we're going to click go there, and it shows only 4. You might think, oh, that's not very good. That's for a very poor selection. So I'm going to go back to my list of 3 and take away one of those from the results and just go with first interest and second interest. So just social and artistic. I dropped out the enterprising, and I'm going to click go. Now it's opened up quite a few more. And I can start to look at this. In the same way as we saw with the job zone on the WorkBC website, or sorry, TypeFocus website, here the job zone is indicated in this column here, the second column. And again, a 2, if we click on that, you'll get a little explanation. These occupations usually require a high school diploma and some on-the-job training. A 3, most occupations in this zone require training in vocational schools, related on-the-job experience, or an associate's degree. And the equivalent in Canada would be like a diploma, a 2-year program, a certificate, which is a 1-year program, or the combination of experience and on-the-job training. And of course, the 4 is a bachelor degree, 4-year program in university, 5 being a master's or graduate work, all the way up to doctorate. So that can help you explore a little bit. Now, I want to take you one step further. Something really cool about the ONET Online is they do have the bright outlook and the little sunshine there. That indicates it's a high opportunity occupation. That's the language of workbc.ca. High opportunity occupation means lots of jobs are opening up in that for that particular role. Let's take an example of childcare workers. And you can look here to see how it breaks down the tasks. So it describes, just in this list, it's just 5 of 25 displayed, the technology skills required, occupational requirements, detailed work activities, work context. So lots of description to allow you to do some initial research without leaving your home. And again, information like this at your fingertips, really helpful in determining, is this a career I'd be interested in? Is it something it's worth pursuing? Should I further investigate this? And that can really help bring about a narrowing down. And so when we think about all these different options that come at you, you're going to need to try to focus in on a few to really pursue and research. Let me just stop sharing this screen again. I'm going to come back to that slide. We got a couple more to go here, and we'll have time for some conversations. All right. So to wrap things up a little bit here, your personality type. You had assessment results from your type focus experience online. You also had a glimpse into, okay, what's my true type, where we looked at those activities with the vacation, the painting of the boat, the fisherman, and the work project. When would you start it? You can start to see, hey, did those line up? We had that conversation with McKenna to talk about, hey, is it sensing or intuition? Which one is it? Because the answer to the question about the sensing intuition experience with the painting was different from her assessment results. So which one really describes McKenna? That's the conundrum we're into, right? So there's where we have to focus in and say, okay, what's my preference and what's my auxiliary or secondary? The one that I developed through life experience, the one that I developed through maybe some kind of training, like McKenna did as a person trained in science, which is very focused on the sensing, whether you're intuitive or not. I can see that combination being powerful if you can do both. Yeah. Once you have that lined up, you see, okay, I've got the 4 letters here, the 4 letters here, they match. Then we can go on to the next one, look at, okay, Holland code or professional interests. Do those align with what I know about myself? Does that make sense to me to see those 3 letters from the second assessment? So that's something you think about. You assess that for yourself. And a final question here, are the suggested career results suitable and realistic? Are they worth investigating? I will hopefully prevent a lot of question by answering a common one that comes up. What if my list of results is unrealistic? I don't have 7 years to become a doctor or dentist. I don't have 10 years to become an astronaut. I don't have this much time to. We understand some of those occupations that you might be suited for are not appropriate now, perhaps at your stage of life. What can you do about that? That's where, for the sake of brevity, I will just say, please attend session 3 or webinar number 3, either with Holly or Lisa. They will help walk you through that question. What if my occupation or list of suggested occupations is unrealistic? And they will help you think through that in another way. It's just a little too much of a conversation to have at this point, but believe me, it will be very helpful to go to that 3rd webinar and walk that through with Holly. Are there any questions here? We want to move forward into a little bit more of a help for research. And I see Shannon, you've got your hand up. Please go ahead, Shannon.
Sure, just a quick question for you. The Holland letters.
Oh, yes.
The website went by so fast I couldn't quite write it down in time. What was can you just pop it in the chat whenever you get a second?
Okay, if you for the ONET online, that one?
Well, I have all of that saved. It was just, I thought there was maybe another quiz that I was supposed to do for the Holland one to get the,
Oh,
oh,
okay. The code comes from your second assessment in Type Focus.
oh, okay. All right.
So
I'll look
go-
back into that.
Yeah, just go back to your assess page, assessments, in your account.
Yeah.
And you'll see the first is personality assessment, second interest assessment. Click on
Yeah.
that one and you'll see it right there.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
You'll have your 3 letters. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
You-
That's great.
Okay, you are welcome. Any other questions about the Holland code or about about the 4 matching up, the 4 from your Type Focus? Let's say it's INFP. And then maybe with the activities that you did today, maybe you got ISFP. You're wondering, sensing or intuition? Which one is it? Which is my preference? And if that's a question, we should try to make sure you see how you can think that one through. Go ahead, McKenna.
Thanks. Just a quick question here. Just as a, if you feel like you kind of know what you're looking for out of a job, is that maybe also a good thought process for the third module as well? Is
Absolutely.
knowing a kind of what you want already and trying to figure out either how to get it or how to temper your expectations.
Oh, these are very good thoughts to raise, McKenna. Thank you so much. Very helpful. What do you desire? What sparks an interest in you?
Yeah,
Go
because
with
I
that.
feel like I already know what those things are, but trying to find a job that hits all of the categories has been, at least for me, particularly difficult. And I have yet to actually find one that kind of suits all of the parts, that
Mm,
also pays money.
right. Yes, that's
Because that
okay.
that's the trade-off seems to be is, for example, I was a tutor for kids earlier, and unfortunately, if you're working in a tutoring agency instead of on your own, on for one-on-one tutoring, you get
Yeah.
paid pretty close to minimum wage, which, as we know in BC, especially in the Victoria area, is not comparable to living wage. Um,
Not even
so
close.
so the so module 3, does that go into that a little bit more?
It will.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
But that's yeah, expectations. This is a really good word to look at when we are looking at expecting all the boxes to be ticked. That would be great, but sometimes we have to take a little compromise, a little trade-off. And I want to say, like, if like, using the example of that I heard about this accountant. He was an accountant for 20 years, but he's extroverted. His extroversion tank, so to speak, his fuel tank, was filled in the evenings and on the weekends. He had an active social life. And so, yeah, this really worked out just fine. He could focus during the workday and then go and have all that social interaction, refill his tank, back to work the next day. Then his social life changed and he couldn't do accounting anymore. He needed something to fill his extroverted tank. And so all I'm trying to say there, McKenna, is possibly you're going to have more than just work. Your life is not just work. And so think a little wider. Can you do the job that would pay enough for your needs that would still be ticking majority of the boxes and have some of the other boxes filled in another way? So that's where we can start to think outside the particularly career focused approach that we've been taking today. Yeah, we like to apply this to more than just our work life. Hope that helps. So McKenna mentioned Victoria. I mentioned Abbotsford. You others could be in Penticton or other communities of the South Okanagan, or perhaps Nanaimo or Mission here in the valley. And each of these cities have a unique labor market. I want to make sure we're seeing these slides here. I'm just going to double check that I'm on the right place here for you. Yes, here we go. So you should be seeing labor market research. What do we mean by this? And why is it important? We need to know that we're going to hit the target, that we're going to meet our expectations. And to help manage those expectations, research is really helpful. So where do I start? Some of the benefits of labor market or LMI, our labor market information research or LMI, each region, like whether it's Victoria, Penticton, or Abbotsford, is unique within British Columbia. And so you're gonna want to have specific information for your area. For example, does the particular job I'm seeking even exist in my area? That accurate LMI helps you make that informed decision, a good choice. And so I encourage you to access resources and learn as much as you can about your local labor market. Our colleagues in the resource rooms of each Work BC Center are very much researching and aware of what's going on in the labor market in your local area. If you have questions they can't answer, they will dig until they find them. And so I highly recommend that you avail yourself of the resource room staff in your local Work BC Center. Of course, workbc.ca is another really helpful website for your research. And you saw how to access that through workbc.ca. And also through going to your list of results and type focus. And then you click on an area of an occupation of interest from that Explore tab and move on into that. And that can help you explore those with particulars according to what kind of occupational information is available. Are there jobs available? Are the predictions made by the economists pointing to long-term growth or decline? That'll help you make a decision. What are the unemployment rates? What are the employment growth rates? These all have to do with the labor market. Is the job I'm seeking or interested in high demand or in low demand? That's going to determine whether I pursue education or invest time in that area. What are the wages, right? McKenna raised that. If you're looking at a job that's minimum wage in anywhere in the Lower Mainland, anywhere in Victoria, we know right away you can't even pay the rent with minimum wage. So there's going to have to be some good research done there. And workbc.ca has some really helpful information, numbers on salary for these different occupations. Occupational skills and level. Do you have the skills, and do you have the training needed to get into a particular occupation? If not, how do you get them? Please ask your case managers if you are interested in further training, and ask, am I eligible for training funding? Am I eligible for training funding? Are the jobs located where I can access them? What are the requirements? Do I meet them? So you can ask lots of questions about the labor market that can help you make an informed decision before investing time, money, energy into preparing for such a career. I want to point out some other resources that I may not have mentioned. Yes, you can see on the slide here, jobbank.gc.ca. And I see that's produced by the federal government. And on the right-hand side of that slide, you can see industry websites or other, we could say, because chambers of commerce, they exist in every community in BC that aren't necessarily an industry in and of themselves, but they connect to businesses and they connect to business owners. They are a very, very helpful organization in every BC community. The Industry Training Authority, BC, has changed its name to Skilled Trades BC, and you add the .ca and you've got their web address for anybody going into one of the trades. And you can go to their website to see the list of trades that they support, that they also help do the overview for the apprenticeship programs for all those trades. And of course, they also have a list of the Red Seal trades, which trades are eligible to have that endorsement once the requirements have been met through school and on-the-job experience. Industry sector association examples, whether it's tourism or construction or trucking or teachers or medical or manufacturing, they all have their associations, and this can be a very valuable source of information, also great for networking, and likely you're going to see job postings and job opportunities on their websites. To help you gather information on some of these relevant questions, on the Career Connect course, you can download a career research worksheet. It allows you to put together a comparison of three of your top choices for careers you'd like to explore. And it looks at some of these areas of the labor market that I've mentioned, whether it's wages or location or job duties or skills required or education requirements. Those categories are all laid out there on this career research worksheet that you can download again on the Career Connect website. And that can help you just think through and compare and contrast the maybe three of your top options. And you can always download another copy and do it again to help just to gather that information and just see, okay, what am I dealing with here? And what are the options? What are the pluses? What are the minuses for each of these careers in comparison to one another? And an interesting question, this just really repeats what's already been raised. Are the suggested results aligned or not aligned with your initial career direction? Some of you have come in with interest in a certain area. Did your results confirm that? That's a real good confidence booster, in my opinion. You go with those intuitive or internal hunches that hey, this is an area I'm interested in, and I've heard about it. I've got some information. I want to pursue this further, and then you get assessment results saying this would be an area that you would thrive in according to your personality type, your professional interests, and your values. That's something to pursue with confidence. That is really worth looking at. If you have trouble with the data at any time during your research, looking at some of the numbers or some of the information given, if you don't understand it, don't hesitate to reach out to your case manager or go into your WorkBC Center and talk to one of the resource room staff, and they can help you look into that. I want to make you aware too that a growing concern in the global economy is automation and technology. And of course, with artificial intelligence storming onto the scene in 2023, we have to ask that question: are there technologies that are affecting your industry or occupation, or the industry you're interested in? So make sure you're asking that question. Are there going to be impacts over the longer term, or because of technological advancements, because of artificial intelligence? And so make sure you're asking that question for the industry you're getting into. I've already pointed out where you can look at training opportunities for a given occupation. And of course, you can always ask further questions at your local WorkBC Center. And yeah, your next plans, your next steps. There are going to be a couple of courses to do on Career Connect before you get into the next webinar. So I encourage you to dig in and put some time into that. And it's worth, of course, that time to really reflect, and what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. That's really how learning works, right? All right, we've got time for any further questions. We got good 5 minutes left here. Are there any questions about the labor market research? Firstly, anybody have any questions about the labor market research? That connection between, for example, Type Focus into workpc.ca.
Yeah, so I guess yeah, if you are going to like if you do like really want a specific job, like that would if it's very particular to a geographic location, for example, like being like in the working at a fish market, then you're better off like working like along the coast, like in Victoria or something. And yeah, that's kind of what
That makes sense, right? Yeah.
yeah.
So make sure you're looking at that kind of set of requirements, set of data, so you can consider, hey, geography, money, the of course the demand, supply, demand. That question: is there going to be a shortage of workers? Hey, that's one to jump into, because they're going to be paying well to attract workers and recruiting people, and you can make some really good really good decisions based on that kind of information. Yeah. Hey, Cody, I saw your hand up there.
Yes, hi. So I find all of that information is on that website, but the one thing that I have a hard time finding anywhere is an accurate assessment as to what, how those industries and those positions in each industry are going to be affected by technology and globalization. I don't know who to ask that question to, or where I can find the information that isn't just generalized or saying
general. Yeah. Yes, a lot of this is right now kind of an educated guesswork at this level. And so and as an example would be artificial intelligence and writers of marketing copy, for example. Is that going to impact writers? And there's a guess that, yeah, it's going to impact them over the short term. And they're going to realize, oh, we need the human element back into that writing. And AI can't produce that human element. And they're going to maybe start hiring back again. So that is a concern for writers. And so, yeah, you want to get into some more accurate information. Again, I think the next session and next courses are going to help prepare you to do that really well, Cody, because you're going to get into a research tool that is it's actually really simple. It's called informational interviews, and it's you asking questions. The difficult part of that one is connecting to the right people in the industries, the ones that have firsthand information, that have decision-making authority. Great for networking too, by the way. I just put a little plug in for informational interviews. Fantastic firsthand information and great for networking. So I really encourage you to tune in for webinar number 3. And you'll get into occupational choices. That's one theme, and informational interviews.
Right. So I have concerns regarding that. If you are an employer and you need employees in this market, then you might be inclined to say what's going to keep people in the field, right? So if you're doing informational interviews, are you going to be getting honest, accurate information from these people, or are they just going to be trying to saturate the market for cheaper labor?
That is a really good question, and I think having multiple sources is going to help you see whether that information is accurate and lining up and is consistent. Of course, if you have somebody saying the opposite and you got 3 or 4 other sources contradicting it, you're going to be able to
Right. So I was
see
kind of
that,
hoping when I came to Work BC that someone at Work BC would be able to answer these questions, because I want a reliable source, and that's the information to me that is absolutely vital to decision making when I'm trying to decide on one job, one career, and I need a reliable source. And I hope Work BC could be that for that information.
yeah, we can link you to when I think about first-hand information versus second-hand, Work BC is going to be second-hand because we're not in the industries that you want to be going into. And so we can link you to people that are trustworthy, have a good reputation, and through our job developers and our employment relations specialists, they have connections with employers in the communities. And so, again, you're going to need to have different approaches to that research. And as you see the consistent information, that'll help you determine whether that's trustworthy or not. But to have a knowledge of firsthand knowledge of trends within every industry, that's really the industry itself that has that kind of knowledge. And yeah, really tough to be able to produce that when we're not in it ourselves.
Right. Great. Thank you, Cody.
Yeah. Hey, some great questions, Cody. Thanks for bringing those to the attention of the whole group. Yeah, really helpful, because you want to have accurate information. So don't just ask one source. Look at multiple sources. Look at first-hand information. See if it corroborates. It lines up. Making sure that you're considering different points of view. Very good. All right, we are a couple minutes past the hour, and so if you need to be off to the next thing, you can just click on leave for leaving the webinar. I won't leave right away. I'll hang in here for a few minutes if there are a few more questions. I heard somebody say something there. Go ahead, ask your question.
I was just going to say, thanks for the webinar. It was real nice. And just to make sure you don't miss it, because a lot of people were saying thanks for the webinar. Jaspreet has a question in chat.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Maybe I'll see you again. Thanks for the excellent webinar.
Thanks, Reese.
Thanks, Kevin.
You are welcome. Pleasure working with you today. I'll just scroll back through. Any other questions or comments? Zach? Okay, I see Jaspreet has a question still. Go ahead, Jaspreet. You can unmute your microphone there, and I hope that works for you. Okay, you're asking for a link, I see, in the chat there. Was that a link to, let's see, what was it, workbc.ca or ONET Online? Your mic doesn't work. Okay. You're looking for a link. Let's see. See if I can. I'll put a few. Of the web, I'll put the websites in there that I referred to. For Type Focus. Okay. In the Career Connect. Yeah, okay. So you haven't done the assessments. Okay. Let me just get that one there. I'll find that. Yes, here it is. Okay, you go to this website. right here. And you're going to need to create an account. So you'll click on, let's go again. Let me just check that again. Register now. You're going to see a green button on the website saying register now. And you'll need to fill in your information, create a password, and you'll need a code. An access code. I'm going to put that into the chat there. MAX 2020. Okay, so just jot that down for your for getting into that type focus. And then there are 3 assessments to do. And just share with you how that looks. You can see it at least. There you go. So Jasper, do you see that that website on the screen now? You able to see where you need to register now? All right, great. Okay, so once you've registered, you'll see a page like this one here. And you'll need to do the personality assessment, then the interest assessment. You can always go back to this if you're wondering, and you can see, oh, if it's green, it means you're done. If it's red, it means you're not done. And make sure you get all 4 sections completed: personality assessment, interest assessment, value assessment, and then there's a little questionnaire called the success factors questionnaire. So those 4 steps you'll need to do. Then you can go over to the Explore tab, the next one, to look at what suggested career options are available. I see. Okay. Yes, I see your question there. About does WorkPC use the type focus that we did to push us into a suited field based on those results? My experience is no. And that would just be one tool to help us see one side of it. And so, okay, I see you know what field you'd like to gain certification in, but you're getting encouraged to go to other fields because you're going to be making less money as a frontline worker in addiction and substance abuse. I see. Yeah. I think. I just answered Jasper's quick question there. Yeah, for your ID, I believe you can just use your email address there. Let me just double check that. Okay, yeah, there's no first name, last name, email address, confirm your email address, create a password, confirm that, and then your access code, MAX 2020, and then click submit, then you're fine. So yeah, this so you just need your email address. I don't think you need to create I'm sure you don't need to create a different user ID. Your email address will be your user ID. If I understand your question there. Yeah, so we'll get back to that question there, London Howard. That's a conversation to have with your case manager. And just to say that I suggest when you prepare for that conversation, that you prepare a really clear answer why you want to do this and why you're willing to take much less pay than your prior career. If you have a really clear rationale for that, your case manager is going to need that to be able to understand your decision making. So if you can think that through and articulate that in a really clear way, that'll help you. I think that'll help you a lot. But yeah, don't forget to be open-minded and consider their advice. Yeah, they may have some other things to consider there. Yeah. And yes, Jaspreet, once you've completed your assessment results, let me just take you to once you've completed them, then you can explore the suggested career results on the next page, the Explore tab here. So you go from Assess to Explore. Once that's completed, you'll be able to then, with a couple of clicks, so you click on the title, the occupation. So for example, audio and video equipment technicians. Then click on BC information, and that'll open up the Work BC website. Does that make sense? Is that clear? I want to make sure that process is easy for you to follow. Okay. Are you able to see my I think I'm sharing that website. Are you able to see where I'm at in the TypeFocus website? Okay. So, okay, just let me try sharing again. Okay, how about now? Is that on your screen now? You can see what I'm sharing with TypeFocus. So once you have all green, say done. Yours is going to say it's going to be red until you've completed those assessments. Once they are all green, you can go over to the Explore tab. That's the next tab there. That's where you just click the job title that you're interested in investigating. Click on BC information, and that'll open up the Work BC career profile for that particular occupation. All right, that works. All right, Jaspreet, any other questions? Okay, I'm not quite sure I understand your question. Well, it's too bad your microphone doesn't work. That would make it a lot easier. Wow. Okay, let's go. Okay, I'll go back to the beginning. So I'll walk through it one more time. So you're able to see that. So you start with your assessments. Once they're finished, they will appear green, like the ones on the page right now. They start off red, showing they're not done. Green means they're done. Once you have them all done, you're able to explore assessment results, which are the suggested career options. And you can go and expand that list. And once you've picked one, you can click on it. It opens up another page within Type Focus. And that's where you look for the BC information button. Click on that, and it opens up a Work BC career profile page. In this case, financial auditors and accountants. And it gives you a career overview and all that right there. Yeah, I don't know that I Work BC ID. I'm not quite sure I understand your question. Like the Work BC site does not require any sign-in. It's open to anyone. So there's no login required. It's just the Type Focus website that requires you to create an account with your email address as your user ID. Are you having trouble signing in to Type Focus? No, I don't think I do understand the question. Yeah. Jaspreet, do you live in Abbotsford or Mission? Is that, that's where I work, and I could possibly do this by phone with you. Abbotsford, okay. I'm just going to take a second here. I'm going to see if I can set something up here. I'll be with you, back with you in a second. Looking up some information here. Okay, I'm going to mute my microphone and try to call you, right? you.